Alison, now your turn, and I would appreciate if you can give us a more legal vision perspective on the future of yacht. How do you see client will use their boats in charter and in pleasure service, and how they will pay for them also in terms of VAT? I don't know. Thanks a lot.
So thank you, Fiorenzo, and thank you for the invitation, and thank you to all the panelists so I've been listening to all these very interesting insights. The legal perspective is the only one I can give, unfortunately, because I'm in very good company, and all the technical vision and all the discussions on sustainability are definitely the way to go. What I can make a few initial comments. So I think all of us who have been working in the sector for some time know how resilient it is. But I think the pandemic has really brought it in its own. And what we are seeing, which has also been confirmed by some of the yards that have already spoken, is that the pandemic has highlighted how the first port of refuge for owners is the sea. So we are seeing more and more new owners coming into the market. All the industry publications I'm following, all the yard statements and all the brokerage statements are confirming that they're seeing an increased number of numbers in the order books and in sale and purchase. So definitely what I see, at least long-term, mid-vision, short to mid-term vision, is definitely a very busy sale and purchase market. And I think the same can be said for the chartering side, because those who are looking to have a holiday this summer, I mean, what better way than to sail, to go on a motor yacht. And I think our industry is unique in the way it has reacted because of its nature. I think that as a result of this, there will be legal considerations to be made and flag considerations. We might be seeing more interest in owners wanting perhaps to have the yacht available for charter some of the time, given that we have now more private owners in the sector. So we need to look at what the tax consequences or considerations are when you're using a commercial yacht for private use and vice versa. There might be the flag requirements one needs to look at. You know, I know that some flags already cater for the possibility of occasional charter where owners want to make that available. So I think from a business perspective, just to, in a nutshell, definitely an increased order book, more private owners, and increase in the fleet of charter yachts for those owners who are already in that business. From a legal perspective, looking at the hybrid nature of perhaps dual use or owners wanting to be more flexible in their use, and also tax considerations. So owners wanting to look at different ways to structure their ownership, especially if they are new to the market. I have other things to say on the environmental relationship to law, but perhaps I'll leave that a bit later.
Okay, thank you very much, Alison. Very
welcome.
And very insightful. Alison, what about talking about new technology, green technology, and attention and commitment to the environment? How do you see in the future the governments can incentivize the adoption of this technology, maybe working on taxation reduction on this kind of yacht? Do you think it is feasible, already happening? It will be more and more in the future?
Okay, I mean, hearing this panel is the perfect example of the strong message and action that has been taken by the industry as regards sustainability, as regards green technology, as regards an action plan which is purely private industry driven, undoubtedly. You know, as we mentioned before with Robert and Lorenzo, I think it's also because of the affluence that is available to us as an industry. So we have that advantage to be able to push our messages across more strongly. And I also, you know, hearing these comments, the environment is definitely a win-win situation when it comes to protection, because because it pays the odds, it pays the owners, and it pays the class societies, and definitely it pays the environment, and it pays the government to invest in contributing towards incentivizing green technology, incentivizing the sustainable use of yachts. And we had an interesting discussion, Lorenzo, with regard to a parallelism with the automobile industry. I mean, in cars, we already see tax rebates, tax incentives by governments with regard to the electric use of cars, for example, which took some time, in the big picture, it took some time to be introduced. And I see absolutely no reason why long-term, now we're talking about long vision, we shouldn't see an analogous development in the superyacht industry. Also, as regards the image of the superyacht industry, which has always been something which we were very conscious of, because yachts tend to, of course, attract a lot of attention. So I think looking at it holistically, definitely there is room for improvement in the sense of taking this to the next level. And taking it to the next level, I mean discussions with government authorities as to how it could be possible to introduce, why not, tax initiatives, tax rebates. And I mean, Robert was mentioning the work carried out by the Water Revolution Foundation and the introduction of indices, tangible indices, if I'm understanding correctly, which would measure the sustainability impact of a particular build, offers the perfect tool. So again, industry-driven incentives and tools, which can be adopted by public authorities and public government, by the government and by international organizations to an extent, because taxation is always something which is very personal to member states. So I think that there is room to take it up. There is room to give this a good think, because I think from the private sector, the drive and the incentive and the investment is already there. I mean, just, hearing all these discussions, it's all very clear. And I think the introduction of indices has come a very long way now in rendering this even more factual. So yes, I think that's something which we'll be seeing, I hope, in the future, because as I said, it's a win-win.
Yeah. Have to be just to make one example, tire-free compliant. But let's think also to the award system. We have a couple of examples already in place, still not internationally recognized, but the process is underway. Let's think to the Canadian government in the Vancouver port offering a relief from tax, mooring tax and port tax for those ships, including yachts, being in some way certified, and Class Society provided some class notations compliant with reduction of underwater noise. So according to that, the big discussion is already started within the IMO for that. But also, let's consider that the super yacht sector in general is suffering, let's say, an approach from the single and local government by considering that a yacht is polluting depending on the size of the yacht itself and not of environmental friendly performances of the yacht itself. In this case, I think that the work of the Water Revolution will be essential. Very recently, in French territorial waters, some of our members, we got some questions, if not complaints, because due to the Posidonia protection, some yachts, just before of the size, are prevented to enter, or in some other case, they are forced to use some pilot ships to enter the areas. So these are examples by which local regulatory framework does not consider the real essence of the technology solution, but they just consider size.
Yeah. Yes. it is true that, I mean, the social perception of our industry is so important. I mean, we need to educate the community and communicate more, maybe, because really yachts are pioneer of new technologies and environmental protection, and this, I think, this is a lack of communication by our industry that should be definitely improved. There is room for improvement for this. Alison, you wanted to add some comments on this, please?
Yes, I mean, the education you just mentioned. So I think, I mean, as long as I've been involved in this industry, it's always been our main challenge, right? Public perception and the image that the industry has. I think over the years, things have changed. I have definitely, myself, I mean, would love to hear your views, but seeing more and more owners being more aware of the social and environmental impact.
Yeah. Alison, we lost you.
We have seen more and more movement towards explorer vessels.
Sorry, we lost you for a few seconds.
Hello?
I lost you for a few
Sorry,
seconds.
okay.
Yeah.
Is it okay now?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So we have seen more and more explorer yachts being invested in, which is another, I believe, very strong link to environmental awareness and interest. So we're still a way away from changing the industry perspective, but I think we have made inroads. I also think Robert before mentioned pollution tax. Now, pollution tax, of course, is a reactive tax. So ideally, that is a penalizing tax, right? So you're not adhering to these standards, so you have to pay so much. What I had in mind was rather a proactive tax. You're buying a yacht with these standards, you are entitled to have this rebate according to...
Understood what you meant.
To your yearly... No, I just wanted to, you know, clarify, because taxation always has a very bad connotation, but in this sense, perhaps it can be used in a positive way.
Yes, we lost again.
Again, I think there's still work to be done, but it's contributing towards having these tangible measurements would help tremendously. So I think those are the main comments I wanted to make. I think that's the vision we need to push now.
Yeah, thank you, Alison.